G'day ladies and gentlemen, it is Sunday the 17th of February here in Australia. It might be different in your time zone. Welcome to the Wraeclast Weekly. I'm ZiggyD, your host, and I'm joined by Arioc, who's the brains of the operation, and Kripparrian, our special guest for this week. So today we're just going to be talking about the major changes from closed beta to open beta, some of the upcoming races and events, giving our thoughts on the state of the economy, and if we have time we'll wrap things up with our thoughts on the future of Path of Exile and whether we see ourselves playing the game in 5 to 10 years time. So, Krip, for those of you, the few people who might not know you, do you mind introducing yourself and what exactly it is you do with your time?
Oh man, I am a professional time waster. People consider games a waste of time, and I took it to the next level where I wasted my time professionally.
Team No Life.
Yeah. So I get up, I just got up about half an hour ago, it's 5 p.m. and doing this interview thing, but normally I'd be, chomping down on some soup, talking to some people on Skype maybe for half an hour, then getting to it, making the YouTube videos about Path of Exiles or whatever other game I'm playing, streaming for 10 hours, and then taking a quick break and doing the cycle all over again. And that's been ongoing for about, 9-10 months, so it's pretty hardcore stuff, but it's really good because when you do the Path of Exile stuff, it's a complicated game. Everyone likes to pay attention to your opinion, and obviously because you're out there to, get a wider audience, it works out very well.
Yeah, I see you're regularly capping around 5,000 viewers on Path of Exile now, which is pretty amazing stuff, more than other streams for other games combined, really. So it's a pretty significant audience there of interest for Path of Exile, so it's good for the game, and it's obviously good for you. You're able to earn a living doing something you love as well, so that's pretty cool stuff there.
It's good for the other streamers too. I see the other streamers going up in numbers as well. People definitely are checking out the game. They want to see what other people are doing, so yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff, man. So how's the hardcore endgame treating you? I understand you're getting pretty heavy into the maps side of things now.
It's okay. Without some added motivation when you have a permanent league like this, it's really your own drive to play the game that goes through. They haven't added in the super fun stuff yet, but it's pretty good. There's always the element of danger now because some of the mobs just do insane damage, and you're obviously incentivized to do ridiculous mods on top of doing these mobs so you can progress through maps.
Have you been having a good streak with the map drops or a bad streak lately? Managing to progress alright? It can be pretty unforgiving.
I kind of came back a little bit, but originally on the Wander, I ran out of maps like 4 days in, like completely. I went from about 12 maps to 0, which, that can happen. But I think 2 days ago, I had about 30 level 66 maps, and I was down to about 4 maps yesterday. So I went from 30 to 4 in maybe like 2 gaming sessions, which is insane. but those 4 have now flourished to close to 20, so it's kind of bouncing back a little bit. But
clawing your way up.
I don't know. I feel like I've been getting some bad luck generally. So I don't know.
The gods of RNG can be rather cruel at times.
We're just blaming Chris. It's all Chris' fault.
He does. I'm pretty sure he monitors your stream and affects your drop rates just to make things a bit more interesting.
I don't think so, because I was playing last night off stream when Noogie was playing. I was on his Mumble and stuff, and I did a mountain ledge with like 18 quantity and like nothing else. And I got 5 maps off like 1 pack of mobs.
Wow. Nicely done. Better like off stream.
Yeah, much better actually.
Alright, so Arioc, what is it you do with your time? You're a fairly well-known name in Path of Exile. Like, I knew your name before I even met you, but what is it that you're known for in Path of Exile? What do you spend your time doing?
I just study right now, but I think I was pretty known before for running with the team that was winning most of the races like 6 months ago in closed beta, and most known streamer before Krip, I think. I was like the only one streaming from Europe at least until Krip came. And as you know, we already said, like when Krip started streaming Path of Exile, we got a pretty big viewer count here. So, but then I stopped for a while, so I've been kind of laying low for a while. But now I'm back, so that's pretty much it, I think.
So what are you doing in the game at the moment? Progressing through hardcore?
Right now I'm not doing very much. I had 2 disconnect deaths, so I'm kind of just taking a break, playing some D2.
You're looking nice. You're looking
That's
forward
what
to
I'm
the
doing
upcoming
right now.
races and that?
Yeah, I think so. We're got a new team going, so
cool.
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing how that goes. So let's jump straight into things here and start talking about the major changes from closed beta to open beta, because obviously for a lot of the new players, the game is just in its current state when they get to the game, and they haven't really had to adapt to changes, just adapting to a new game, obviously. But for a lot of us who played closed beta a fair bit, a lot of things changed, like the first point here I wanted to cover was that skill and passive changes from closed beta to open beta. Some things went from great to bad, and some things went from bad to great. A big one for me was the chain lightning arrow nerf. So lightning arrow and chain both got nerfed a fair bit, and I was running pretty much a shadow chain lightning arrow person build like pretty much everyone was, farming it up, and obviously that was a pretty significant change. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on what changes you saw as the most major and what has affected you. So, Krip, I understand you're running a Wander, and the chain nerf affected you a fair bit, didn't it?
Well, I died on the Wander. I'm playing the Freeze Pulsar now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the chain nerf was pretty bad. It wasn't too devastating because there are a few things at play. So when it came to your AoE, you kind of needed to use chain on the Wander. Otherwise, it's just kind of crappy.
Yeah.
They nerfed chain, but they didn't nerf anything else. So what you would do to compensate is use greater multiple projectiles instead of lesser multiple projectiles. Because, I mean, your single target's always going to be really good with wands, but yeah, your AoE is really the issue. And with GMP, you kind of have a similar amount of projectiles as you once did. So you're doing a lot less damage, but what the other things at play are the fact that they buffed damage auras, so Wrath and Anger do more damage. Prior to open beta, they did some horrible scaling past 15. Like you get it to 15, and some people, even as an elemental build, you'd stop leveling them because they'd gain like 4 damage per level. And now they gain full damage, and it actually seems to scale upwards. So you get a significant damage boost from that, as well as they added affixes for the elementals past the prior current ones, of course. So those kind of damage buffs put the AoE right about where it used to be for a wand, and obviously the single target got buffed a lot. The main issue was with the wanding was that they buffed the mana cost of like all the auras and nerfed discipline, so your mana pool was kind of screwed. So you were forced to use Eldritch Battery pretty much.
So do you still feel like it was a fairly strong build? You were able to adapt to it pretty well?
Well, it's kind of the build where you need a lot of gear and you need to be high level for it to start working. But when it starts working, you just like destroy stuff. I think the Wander is one of the only viable builds that's able to shock stack bosses in higher level maps. So, you know, when it comes to these spark specs, all these like shock specs, when it comes to bosses, they do 0 damage. But if you have a Wander in the group, it's just like every single crit just absolutely melts the boss. So yeah, it's pretty good in that front.
Yeah, so pretty significant for a lot of the new the maps, and with the bosses being quite difficult to take on then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other changes that stood out for you, particularly?
I kind of want to touch on the chain lightning arrow. That was a nerfed. Are you kidding? That's still the most overpowered build.
It's so good, but it's so boring.
Not as overpowered. But yes.
Oh, come on. Even if it does a little bit less damage, they buffed some of the unique bows, like Lion's Eye is insane.
Oh my god, dude.
And they buffed the auras as well, which kind of compensates a lot for the damage because the spec used Anger and Wrath as well. So I mean, it wasn't a straight loss. I mean, if you watch like Noogie play or other people, there is absolutely no way that any other build can compete with it in terms of functionality. Like he's one-shotting packs of champions in 66 maps without even cursing them, right? And he's doing this on a ranger, so it's just like point and shoot. You know, it's a melee could do 1,000,000 damage a hit and would never kill stuff as fast because he'd have to run to the mobs where he wouldn't have to. So the offensive part is largely from like the utility, and the defensive part is life on hit, which is also insane with Lightning Arrow. So you're never gonna die on that character anyway. I don't know, it just feels a little crazy still.
I still think it falls off on single target damage, though. Slacks off a little.
Yeah, a little bit, but
you have other options for single target, really. I suppose that brings up an interesting point, that whenever a nerf happens, or a perceived nerf happens, it changes the mindset more than anything else. So the big change I saw that came out of the lightning arrow changes was that things like ice shot became a lot more popular and are being used a lot more now. So it sort of just shifted people's focus a little bit away from lightning arrow, which is, I suppose, a good thing, because that's what the devs don't want, is want every class using the same skill.
Yeah. I think it did originally, but I think people are just switching back now.
Once I realize how strong it is still.
Yeah, lightning arrow is still pretty insane, and people are realizing it again.
Do you think it's something that will be changed again in the future?
I think so. I think just bows in general are really ridiculous with very few abilities and very crappy with most others. And I don't feel they should buff the crappy abilities. I think they should lower the effectiveness of the really good ones, because, you know, bows are always going to have the advantage of just point and shoot off screen and endless amount of hits, while you're getting the benefit from doing damage through your gear. Like a spellcaster can't really do that. If you're a spellcaster, the only damage you're getting from your gear is really like the crit stuff, which is kind of dangerous. But with bows, you get like plus lightning on all your gear, plus fire, plus cold, kind of like with wands. And you don't need to invest in many damage nodes. Your survivability, because it's always like a balance. You know, you balance survivability and damage. And if you're getting damage for free, then you can focus on survivability, and you have an overpowered character.
I think one of the problems with lightning arrow is reflect doesn't really do anything against it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, any other spellcast ability gets destroyed by reflect, but it's like lightning arrow doesn't do anything. Just sit and hit it. Just doesn't do nothing. Especially if you go resolute technique with it, like some people do.
Yeah. Is that a function of the life on hit, or just the way the skill functions?
Yeah, just life on hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that instant heal, just overcoming it.
Yeah, it's like having Volpact while getting the benefits of not having Volpact.
yeah, nice. Alright, so before we continue, I'm just going to refresh the call, because Krip's camera has frozen. So, one sec.
Oh, it is.
You've had a very attractive face on for the last few minutes. Alright, so we'll just push on then, and if they come up, they come up. So, Arioc, was there any other major changes you wanted to bring up? Like anything else that have affected your builds, or that you've...
I want to bring up the biggest hate change Krip has been hating on me on for like forever. CI. CI.
The CI changes. Alright.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Come on,
no way. No way.
It's so bad now. Like, come on, before you could go CI on melee characters, not really viable anymore.
Okay, that's true, but that has other complications.
Yeah.
Oh, camera.
Camera's back, yay. So it is, well, you can't really say that the CI change wasn't a straight nerf. It was a 50% reduction. They initially put that little tumor on the side that had the additional CI energy shield bonuses, but now it's just the change to chaos and chaos inoculation.
I think they decided to buff the other nodes instead, and thought that was enough. But you know, before you could go CI at level 30, it's not really something you can do anymore.
It was always something that was fairly gear dependent, right? But
I think the problem was pretty widespread. Like, you could see it. You'd go on the forums. You'd go for the most popular builds. Like, oh my god, 30,000 hits. This build is obviously good. You look at the build. It has like CI and one energy shield node, and everything else is like crit damage. So yeah, like obviously it'll work because
you know.
Yeah, it's like making a spec with no life nodes and going life. So yeah, it's gonna be insane. And that's really what they changed. Like, people have similar ES to what they had before. There's people in the game who have almost 12,000 right now. So I mean, you can't really say that's not a reasonable amount.
Yeah, but
you just have to invest the points.
Not sure if CI, you know, is even worth taking now. You know, maybe you'd take it late game, but you know, mid game or starting maps, I don't think CI is viable at all. I still think they need to rework the skill, and I think they are doing it, because I don't think they're really satisfied with how it is right now.
I think the recent change with the plus armor mods on armor was a big buff to CI, as I mentioned to you last night. So they changed like the plus armor mod, which goes before the percentage roll on pieces of armor, from maxing out at like 140 something to maxing out at 400. So you can get a piece of gear that has plus 400 armor, plus 130 ES, and then have the large multiplier, like times 1.3 on both. So you can be an armor stacked CI character, and I think with that change you'll start seeing some more melee CI. Because body and soul talents are the best ES talents, and those are armor ES.
Yeah, so we'll see a lot of people heading over to that sort of this Templar side of the tree and building ES builds out of that.
Yeah, we're actually laughing about it. We think like people vendored gear like that before. Where they could have kept it and divined it to make it good again.
It's just these are the nature of these changes. CI has been something that has been changed a lot over the course, like the history of the game. It's probably undergone the most changes out of any keystone passive out of any major skill. And just I think the devs will eventually find something they're happy with, I think. But it is very strong. Right,
it's like, I think with the chaos damage kind of buff now, since you have minus chaos resist, I think CI is, it's really important, but I don't think it's really viable as it is right now.
Yeah.
But
so
something that might be looked at in the future.
Yeah, definitely.